We officially made it to March. The past month was a lot. Not that anything specific happened. It's more about the winter fatigue and trying to figure out or find energy to survive winter. So this video will be a recap of the small moments that kept me going over the past month, and of course we'll be talking about the books that I read this month as well. Hey guys, welcome back to Sandrine's Book Corner. If you're new here, my name is Sandrine and I love to read. I'm so happy you made it here. We're gonna do a recap of the books that I read. There's 3 of them. I have my tea ready for me, and then I have a glass of water. There's gonna be a lot of chit-chatting in this video, so bear with me. And also guys, I don't know if you can hear it or probably can see, I don't have a microphone on me today. I asked ChatGPT if the best sound can be created through AirPods or the iPhone sound, and ChatGPT was pretty much like, okay, go with your iPhone. So if the sound is trash, it's ChatGPT, not me. Blame it on ChatGPT. Right. So I started off the month with this book, The Lion Women of Tehran. Guys, this is a book that I urge everybody to read. So this book was recommended to me by my friend Rusa. Shout out to Rusa. This is a book that follows 2 girls who grow up in different parts of Tehran, and the book starts off in the 1950s. We follow their lives through several decades. This is a book for those of you who want to learn more about the political history in Iran and how that affects people's lives, more specifically women's lives. A big part of this book is about grief. It's about grieving the life that you thought that you would have for yourself and the accomplishments that you hoped to achieve in your home country, and ultimately having to accept that you will never achieve these things. And certain things are not achievable at some point for some of these characters, and you kind of see how they have to accept the reality of not being able to live freely in a country that raised you. And you follow how this grief can also be passed down through generations. Most of the time we see activists as heroes, but the down part to being an activist is also shown in this book, in how much they have to sacrifice and how much they have to give up in terms of quality time with your family, being able to raise your child the way you want to raise them, being able to be there for your child and not being able to because you have this urge of fighting for your country. There's a sacrifice in that. And also being okay that being an activist might end your life, or it might take away your freedom that you are fighting for. Considering the things that are happening now in the world, I feel like, yes, watch the news and listen to all the podcasts of everything that it is going on in, for example, Iran. But reading a book in a historic setting such as this book does, it makes you understand the reality of these characters' lives and how that can explain how people living throughout these historical moments and how living through war, essentially, how that affects people. I feel like literature is our only way to explore the deepness of that. So I really urge everyone to read this book, because I felt like the writer did a good job with mixing, obviously, a lot of traumatic events, but also the cultural side to Iran. There's a lot of food descriptions in this book, so you might get hungry while reading it. I know that I was like, this all sounds so delicious. I think there is a restaurant that is called Salade Olivier, and when they're describing this sandwich that they're eating in this book, trust and believe that I wanted to jump in and eat that sandwich. So I feel like the author did a good job at balancing the everyday life of these characters while also describing what is going on in the country and how is this affecting not only these two women's friendship, but also their parents and their families, their siblings. I already know that this is one of my top 10 books this year because the impact that it had on me and what I understand about Iran, it's priceless. It made me want to pick up more of her books. I think she has another book that is also a historical fiction set in Tehran, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it's set in London. I'm gonna find the title of that book because I feel like I want to explore more of this author's work. She's amazing. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. Definitely recommend this one to everyone. Okay guys, so I'm reading A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams, and I'm not quite getting into this story. I don't know what it is, but I'm just not into it. And I was kind of craving a romance because, let me see if I can reach the book. I always put my books on different sides. So right here, I'm not gonna show you because I don't have the energy. But right down there, I have my physical TBR, and on this side, I always put the books that I have finished that I need to write reviews on. So I have this, The Lion Women of Tehran, and this book took my breath away. I learned so much, but after this, I was like, I need to read something that is a little bit easier. So I was like, I'm gonna read this. Now that I'm reading it, I'm like, I'm only on page 37, which is not a lot considering that I started it yesterday or the day before. So I'm kind of bored with this story. I read 7 Days in June and I loved it. So I was kind of looking for the same energy, but I'm 37 pages in and I'm not feeling it. Maybe I will. I'm gonna continue to read it because this week I just need something easy. But at the same time, it needs to catch my attention. This is the thing with romance books. I need them to take my breath away because sometimes it's like we already know what's gonna happen. So the storyline needs to be awesome, which it's not at the moment. Anyways, I'm gonna try to read a few more pages before I fall asleep, and I have a long day tomorrow, so I really need to sleep soon. I'm trying to decide what book I'm gonna read today. So last night I was trying to read A Love Song for Ricky Wilde. This book is not really doing it for me right now. I think it might be a book I need to read during the summer or the spring, but right now I'm not feeling it. And then this morning I picked up Pride and Prejudice, and it was okay. I got to 10 pages and I was like, okay, it's decent. I'm just realizing that I might not want to read any love stories at the moment, to my surprise. And then I'm thinking of this one actually right now, Beloved. I've talked about this for so long, and it's Black History Month right now in the US. So maybe I should pick up this one. I don't know. I think this one is what I'm gonna try. I'm also thinking about this one. This is a book that I'm gonna read next week with one of my Bookstagram friends. I don't know. No, I think I'm gonna wait with that one until Tuesday because I promised her I will wait. Okay, should we try this one? I think I'm gonna start reading it on the train and see where it goes. So as you saw me in that video, I was struggling, guys. I was struggling. I couldn't read a thing. Like, none of the stories that I started stuck with me, and I had no interest in figuring out what happened next in those books. And then I tried to read Toni Morrison, Beloved. Guys, that book is so difficult. People always say that, like, if you're gonna read Toni Morrison, don't start with Beloved. And I have read 2 of her other works, so I just felt like I was ready. I needed to understand more of Beloved and the hype. But I came to find out that I was not mature enough to read that book, because I wanted to read it for Black History Month. But guys, I couldn't. It was a little bit too difficult, or maybe it was the state of mind that I was in. But I tried for a full week and then I gave up. So I need to pick that one up at some point again. Instead, I picked up Romance in Marseilles. This is a book that I read together with my Bookstagram friend. Her name is Literally Eve on Instagram, and her name is Evelyn. So we read this book together. I love that. We kept on chatting with one another throughout the book. And she reads a lot of classics. So if you're into classics, check her out. She does amazing videos and amazing content on Instagram. She might be on TikTok as well, but I don't have TikTok, so I wouldn't know. If you're gonna read this book, I would advise you to go into it blindly. Like, don't read the synopsis, just pick it up and just follow the book, because this book felt like a fever dream in the best way possible. So what this book asks is, what does it mean to live in a racist society as a Black African, and how much power can money buy, and how much can society affect who we choose to love? We follow Lafala and his love interest that is a prostitute. So their relationship is kind of at the core of this story. What I found interesting about this book is that it talks about Blackness out of the lens of Black people's view on Blackness. This book was quite satirical in a lot of ways, but it was also unapologetically Black. But at the same time, there were also aspects of internalized racism. When I went to the English bookshop and we had the book club discussions, I realized that a lot of us had different understandings of the book and some parts of the book. And we also had an interesting conversation about what is love. Some people thought that what Lafala and Aslima, his girlfriend, they're not official, but in my opinion, he's in love with Aslima. But some people didn't view it as love. Some people felt like it was just a transactional relationship, mainly because of her role as a prostitute in Marseille, but also in their relationship, it felt like she was paying back something. Guys, am I spoiling the book? No, I don't think I am. I feel like I ask this question every time I sit here and talk about books. Like, am I spoiling the book? I don't think I am, but I think I should stop there. One thing that I didn't like about this book is that, so all of this is only the introduction. I started with reading the introduction because I was like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe they're gonna explain something about why this author wrote this book. So I read the introduction up until like 5 pages in. I was like, why are they spoiling this story? Why do people write introductions with spoilers? This happens a lot in classics, and I really don't understand why. Can somebody please explain? Because I don't understand the point. So that's the introduction, and this is the footnotes of the book. So basically, the book is only like, let's see, this is the book. This is the story. So it's only 130 pages long. So don't, if you're like, oh, it's a classic and it seems to be too deep for me, remember that it's this short. This book is one of those books that will make you, I don't know if you can see. This is one of those books that will make you think and make you want to like get some post-its and just get to work, because it really was mind-blowing, and I feel like this book feels modern in a way. Evelyn said that this reminded her of Toni Morrison's writing. It was quite easy to follow throughout the books, because sometimes when you read classics, your brain is like, girl, this is too slow. The words are complicated for no reason. But this, I felt like this was very good writing and quite poetic. And I think the author, if I'm not mistaken, he has heritage from Jamaica as well. So, and I love Jamaican literature, so it makes sense that he will be such a good writer. Yeah, like I said, I read this as a part of the English Bookshop's Black History Month book club pick, and it was so much fun. I am very tempted to try their other book clubs. I think they have one for contemporary fiction, they have one for classics, a fantasy group, a sci-fi group. Maybe I should go to the sci-fi one, because there's something about reading sci-fi books that just makes me want to. You're always like, did anybody else see that? Am I the only one seeing that? So yeah, I gave this book, what did I give this book? I think I gave it 4 stars. Okay guys, so next I read Natural Beauty by Ling Huang. This is a book that I've had on my physical TBR for the longest time. So one of my goals this year is to actually finish my physical TBR before going out to buy new books. I have not succeeded with this goal because I've already bought more books, but let a girl live. What am I supposed to do? Like, it's winter. Am I supposed to just not buy books and not enjoy myself? No. I read this author's other book. What was that called? Immaculate Conception. So that was the first book that I read from this author, and I said I need to read Natural Beauty because I kept on seeing a lot of reviews about this book, and the synopsis sounded great, so I had to pick it up. This is a dystopian novel with a thriller touch. It's hard to put this book in a category, but our main character is a Chinese American woman who is a very talented pianist. But when her parents get in a horrible car accident, she gives up her dream to work at a big wellness company. It felt like a study on how the wellness industry works. I have seen people compare this book as a satirical take on companies such as Goop Lab. I don't know if this is a fair comparison, but I felt like this author also kind of compared the wellness industry to the plastic surgery industry, because people in this book take all kinds of supplements. Like, there's some supplements to make your eyes greener or change the color of your eyes. There's supplements to change your hair color. There's supplements to change your skin color. There's supplements to every single thing that you can think of. And I think it was quite fun to compare how we view plastic surgery. Seeing somebody go under the knife is maybe villainized in a way in our society, and we view it as, I don't know if we do anymore though. No, I think it's more normalized, but in some societies it's still viewed as something you just like, don't do that. I think that was quite interesting because people do a lot of things and a lot of beauty treatments that are not mainly seen as plastic surgery, but there are some treatments that can change the way we look without going under a knife. And so that was quite a fun, I don't know if fun is the word, but it was quite interesting, a very playful thing to do in this book. How do we view people who change their aesthetics if it's not Botox or if it's not through BBLs? What if there was a pill to take? Would most of us take it? What if it didn't cost that much to change our appearances? Maybe most of us would do it. You never know. How the beauty industry and the wellness industry intertwines. This book is also interesting because that's the case in all the companies that we see, such as Goop Lab. Picking up this book reminded me that when in doubt, you should always pick up a dystopian book because it will get your mind going, especially if you're going through stuff in your life or you have a lot of work or you just need something to just ease off your mind and make you think about something else. A dystopian book will always do that for me because it really just makes me focus on one thing. If you miss a line, you have missed the whole plot. Like, there's plots everywhere in this book. I saw somewhere that there's gonna be a movie or a series adaptation of this on Netflix. I don't know where I saw it. Maybe it was on Instagram, but if it is, I really hope so because this book felt... I always say this about a lot of books, so at some point I feel like you're gonna stop believing me. But no, I really mean it when I say it this time. This book felt like a movie. It's very cinematic. I gave this 4 stars.
Bara det är